Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and a very special thank you to every single person who has become a subscriber on Substack, Patreon, or who has otherwise supported my work. I appreciate every single one of you. Now, after weeks of simmering tensions, of tariff escalations, and geopolitical posturing, a new chapter in the US-India relationship might be on the horizon. President Trump and Indian PM Modi have taken to social media this week to announce a breakthrough, which is the resumption of trade negotiations between the two countries. This announcement marks a potential thaw in what had become a very public and increasingly bitter, I would say, dispute over tariffs, over Russian oil purchases, and over broader strategic disagreements. Trump posted on his platform Truth Social saying that he was, quote, pleased to announce that India and the United States are continuing negotiations to address trade barriers. He described Modi as a very good friend and expressed optimism that discussions would lead to a successful conclusion for both countries. What's interesting is that Indian PM Modi quickly responded with a post on X, calling the United States a close friend and natural partner. Modi said that he was confident that the renewed talks would unlock the limitless potential of the India-US partnership, and also emphasized that their respective teams were already working diligently to finalize discussions as quickly as possible behind closed doors. For observers of international diplomacy and international relations, the tone of these posts couldn't have been more different from the rhetoric that we observed just several weeks ago. The core issue here are tariffs, and we will discuss several other issues here in a moment. The United States had imposed a 25% tariff on Indian exports earlier this year, as many of you may recall, and then Trump actually doubled the rate to 50% in response to India's continued purchases of Russian oil. This aggressive move shocked New Delhi and sent trade relations into a tailspin, and it caused a major escalation. Now, India, for its part, was not very shy about its frustration with Trump with the United States. New Delhi made it very clear that it would continue buying Russian oil as long as it remained financially viable, which makes perfect sense. They also argued that energy security for its 1.4 billion people could not be compromised for political optics. Also, something that we can't really argue with. It makes perfect sense. The discounted crude oil from Russia helped India, the world's third largest oil consumer, by the way, manage its import costs during a period of global volatility. But the conflict between India and the United States isn't just about oil and tariffs. It is also about trust and perception. Trump had reportedly pressured European Union leaders to join him in slapping tariffs of up to 100% on both India and China for their Russian oil imports. I literally just uploaded a video yesterday on Trump again urging the EU to impose 100% tariffs on India and China. He literally just urged the EU to do that. During private discussions, he told European officials that the United States would mirror any new EU tariffs on countries continuing to buy from Moscow. And so this was seen as a strategic move to isolate Russia, of course, but it also risks pushing India further away from Washington, and Washington cannot afford to do that anymore. So what Trump did here was he threatened 100% tariffs on India, and then immediately he turned around and said that his good friend Modi and he will have a beautiful deal coming up soon. And oh, by the way, at one point, Trump even accused India of drifting too close to China after Modi appeared at a recent summit, the SCO summit that took place just a week ago, alongside both Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Trump actually bluntly stated that India had been lost. He used that exact word. He said India is lost to China, which is an accusation that drew a very sharp response from Indian officials. So there's a lot that New Delhi doesn't quite like. The situation escalated further when Trump reminded allies and media outlets of his claimed role in mediating tensions between India and Pakistan. And that suggestion actually irritated Indian leaders. They took to social media as well, and they voiced their frustration. India maintains that issues with Pakistan are bilateral between India and Pakistan, and India continues to reject all third-party involvement. Modi reiterated his position during a June call with Trump, signaling once again that India won't accept outside interference in regional matters, as it shouldn't. But despite the posturing, signs of de-escalation have been gradually emerging. India made a slight reduction in Russian oil imports in late August, and that's also an important sign. Trump actually struck a more positive tone in a speech last Friday, saying that he would always be friends with Modi, even if he didn't agree with everything that India was doing at the moment. So what changed? That is the big question. Politico here reports that, according to former U.S. trade negotiator Mark Linscott, the shift wasn't about any one concession. It was about productive conversation happening behind the scenes. The negotiator suggested that while the Russian oil issue still needs to be addressed, Washington feels both countries seem willing to climb down from the edge and get back to crafting a deal that actually works for both of them. And it is not difficult to see why. The United States is India's largest export market by a wide margin. In fact, the value of Indian exports to the United States exceeds the total value of all Indian exports to BRICS nations. That is the kind of trade relationship that neither the United States nor India would want to risk. It is just far too valuable. India is currently negotiating a free trade agreement with the European Union, by the way, and that process is very sensitive to any shifts in US-India or EU-India relations. Reports also indicate that a team of Indian trade negotiators is preparing to travel to Washington, possibly as soon as next week. Their agenda includes pushing back against the 25% reciprocal tariff on Indian goods, and they will also seek relief from the penalty levies that are tied to Russian oil imports. These discussions could lay the foundation for a broader trade agreement, possibly, or at the very least, we could say that it would likely reset relations on a more constructive path. So what do you anticipate will be the US-India trade deal? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to find out more about your take on the subject. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to show your support. It does go a long way. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your network. Also, I would love to see you on my Substack and on my Patreon, on my alternative social media platforms. You will find them linked below. And until then, I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care.